David Boies has long been one of this country's best-known attorneys. His high-profile cases include Bush versus Gore, stemming from the 2000 election and the California Prop 8 controversy. Good morning.
Good morning.
Tell me how significant you view this case.
This could be very significant, both in two respects. One, from a legal standpoint, it could really define the powers of the federal government going forward in a whole variety of areas. This could be as significant as one of the New Deal cases that was decided about 70 years ago that some of the editorial writers have rediscovered and have been writing about, Wickard against Filburn. I think that it could also be very significant for the health care plan, because up for grabs right now is whether the whole health care plan could be declared unconstitutional. I don't think that's going to happen, but that's a potential that could happen. So you have two very significant aspects: a political aspect and a legal aspect.
Could particular parts of the plan be declared unconstitutional?
Yes. There have been four federal courts of appeals that have considered the health care law and the constitutionality of the health care law so far. One of them decided it's too early to decide it. The other three split 2-1. Two upheld the law, one held it was unconstitutional in part, but all three upheld most of the health care law. What was at issue in the one case in which a portion of it was held unconstitutional was the so-called individual mandate that requires individuals to get health insurance or pay a penalty.
Does this look like a 5-4 decision?
I think the mandate could be 5-4, 6-3.
The individual mandate, which is the critical issue here.
Which is one of the critical issues. I think the expansion of Medicare, whose constitutionality is also challenged, is obviously a very significant issue. But that, I think, is not going to be close.
The individual mandate has really become not just a political issue, like hot button issue, but also for many Americans as they try to wrap their head around all of this. So put the legalese aside for just a second. When this initially came out, a lot of people said, well, you can compare this to car insurance. You have to get car insurance, therefore, what's the big deal? Is that really an accurate comparison, though, or is it more apples to oranges?
Well, it's accurate in one respect and inaccurate in another. There are a lot of individual mandates like that, but the car insurance is typically a mandate that's imposed by the states, not the federal government.
And this comes back to then the issue of this being something imposed by the federal government. Mitt Romney actually wrote about this today, saying that states it would be okay.
Yeah, the states have a power to do things that the federal government doesn't. The federal government is a government of limited powers.
Jan, you're watching this and listening to this. You cover the Supreme Court. What interests you most about this case?
Well, what you guys are talking about, the main issue, the ball game, I think, is that individual mandate. The issue, one the court has never taken up before, is whether or not the federal government can force you to buy something or pay a penalty. Now, David is right. There are all these other issues, 3 days of arguments. This aspect will be argued on Tuesday. But that's what everyone's focusing on, because that component is so critical to the overall law. You've got to have all the people participating in health insurance so other parts of the law will work, like the fact that people with pre-existing conditions can have insurance. Without that aspect, the law could absolutely fall apart.
Jan Crawford, David Boies, thank you. Good to see you.
Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Thank you.